What is going on, y'all? Thank y'all so much for joining us. My name is Chris Hennessy. This is Ending the Stigma, where I have conversations with people that have had anything to do with addiction, human trafficking, justice involved, like anything about anything that has to do with any of those subjects. Y'all might notice it looks a little different. This is my very first time going live from my house. If y'all have followed along for any amount of time, you know that I've been lamenting the fact that living out in the sticks, I don't have high-speed internet. Well, I got high-speed internet a few weeks ago. So I am now going live from my home office. And I'm super excited about it. Like, I don't have everything set up yet because I've been lazy and just hadn't done it. But yeah, super excited about it. So if you're here, whether you're joining in on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, y'all drop a comment and let me know that you're here. Also, there is a window unit air conditioner going right there. So if y'all can hear that, please let me know and I'll turn it off. But it is, summer in Texas, so it's whatever. My guest tonight, so I've never met this dude in person, but like I consider him a brother. I'm part of a men's Bible study group that has 10 or 12 people in it that are associated in some way or form with We Fight Monsters. Whether it's just friends of them or works with them or whatever. And I've gotten to know him over the past few weeks, and like he's just an awesome dude. But before I bring him out, I'm gonna say hi to a few people. Kelly Steinick is here. Kelly is the reason that I know Ben and Jess, so I will absolutely love her forever for that. Lindsay Stanfield, how are you doing, sis? Good to see you. Julia Matheson, I've met her in person too. April Garner, she's the part of the Raven is here. She goes with us out in the homeless camps and to the attics and out in the streets. And she is definitely my sister, even though it's not by blood. Hey, Joseph, good to see you, man. We got Josh Sneed. What's going on, brother? And Lindsay Stanfield, thank you so much. Okay, good. You can't hear it. Good, because like I said, it's summer in Texas. All right, y'all. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring out Tyler Paul. Hey, brother.
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's going, man. Thanks for being here. I should probably put that on. There we go. All right, good deal. All right, cool, man. Thanks for being here, dude. Like you're not even joining us from home though. Like you're on the beach, somewhere on the beach.
Yeah, my annual vacation. It's I think kind of we talked about it. It's a little bit rough right now.
Yeah. That's a rough view right there, right?
yeah. We're surviving. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
try.
My
Yeah.
thoughts and prayers, like I said earlier, thoughts and prayers, bro.
Yeah,
No,
man.
Josh. Like, look, your hair really is fixed. Josh said, "Is his hair fixed?" Like, it's fixed more than it is on Friday mornings most of the time.
Yeah. Well, this is so. I do fix my hair occasionally, but this is beach hair right now. So this is like
Okay.
after a day on the board in the water.
Yeah.
Just free flowing kind of a thing. You just gotta
Yeah.
you just gotta go with the flow. That's what you gotta really do.
Right. Yeah. If you're in Florida on the beach, dude, like there's no agenda. There's nothing. You just go with it.
Yes. Well, except if
Yes.
you have 3 kids, then
There might be a little bit of an agenda.
at times, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, thanks for being here, man. Like you have a heck of a story, and I hadn't even heard all of it. So just tell us about Tyler, dude. Like you recently retired from the Army. Like you have a background in addiction. Like just kind of start wherever you want to start and walk us through to how you got to today.
Awesome. Okay. Well, first off, appreciate the heck out of you having me on here. So as far as I go, I grew up in a home. It was a successful home, great parents, great everything. And after 9/11 happened, being from Missouri, I had to join the military because that's just something that you do. And so I did that 20 years. I had a ton of fun, but I also acquired some skills that I would not have preferred to acquire during that
Yeah.
time. And one of
Yeah.
them is partying. In my job field, which I was on the bomb squad or explosive ordnance disposal, the it's very common. And one, I'm not bashing anything military wise or anything like that. I'm just
Right.
stating facts. It's very common for alcohol to be, um, I guess, approved as a form of approval. I mean, it's basically everywhere you have it.
I mean, just
Um,
think about it though. Let me interrupt you for a second. Like, just everybody stop and think for a second. Like, you're defusing bombs.
yes, yes,
So, like, you're going into this live stuff that could potentially blow you into pieces, and you're having to defuse it to save you and whoever's around you. Like, that's a high stress situation, man.
yes. But then it becomes like a regular job. My my
Let's go play with bombs today. It's just
well,
any other day.
my latest one was I was supporting special operations forces in Afghanistan, and I've also done it in Africa. But so a lot of it was no driving a robot, which we have robots, stuff like
Right.
that. So yeah, it was dealing with stuff, walking in front of everybody with what they call the engineer of the team, and yeah, just going. But like I said, it just becomes a regular job, and I think it's also um, it becomes part of you. I guess you
Yeah.
could say it's kind of
Yeah.
how I talk to people about, because you always hear people talk about getting shot at and stuff, and sure, plenty of people that are on your show and throughout the people that we communicate with have definitely been through that
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But it's like I tell people, the first four times, it's pretty scary, and then after that, it becomes more, I guess, normal. About 9 or 10, it becomes part of your DNA, and it just becomes like who you are. It's like you get excited when you think that something's going to happen, and that's
And that's
also
crazy. Like, coming from a civilian that's never been in any kind of combat or any kind of, like, even a street shootout, like, that is crazy to think about. Like, it's just, oh, just another day. I'm going to get shot at today.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of the guys we were working at, they loved doing their job and going out and
Yeah.
doing just that, which was great. The down parts of it are, like I was saying about the job field, is the alcohol
Mm-hmm.
that is in it. So that's a way of unwinding. Well, when you get to where you have that adrenaline, and then you are drinking alcohol for everything, whether it's for friends you lost or just because you're known as being a partier, it starts to get really rough on you, because my
Yeah.
job field is there's quite a few people that would be considered crazy in it, and my name was Crazy Paul. So that just kind of put me in a position, and also I've heard people talk to me that have never met me and
Right.
say that, well, my friend Cleary told me that, yeah, that we haven't partied until we partied with you. It's like, oh man. Of course, this is like after I quit drinking. It's like, oh, well, lots changed.
Right.
But but so it follows you, and that kind of, when it follows you like that, it's not exactly something that is, you don't get excited about. People
Yeah.
come to you and they're joking around about it, saying what they've heard and all this other stuff. But to you, it's like, gosh, man, I wish that was never there.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially like once you've quit and gotten out of it and you've like sobered up enough to look back and be like, oh my God, like that was not good. And to know that that's your reputation now, that had to have been a weird line to walk.
oh, it was. And I think one of the things that really kicked me in the face was my wife was pregnant with my first son, and she was somewhere. And so I had snuck a bottle of, I think this time it was liquor. And so next thing I know, I'm waking up in the emergency room. I have blood all over me. She's in there with me, and I'm like, what the heck happened? And I guess I'd drinking so much that I had either slipped on the front step of the house, but she came in and found me in a pool of blood and vomit. And
Mm.
and then of course her mom came in and to the hospital as well, and just stating the fact that we're fixing to have a kid together, and I was
Yeah.
running the risk of losing everything.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. Now, did I stop right then? No, it was, I guess I wasn't completely ready. I wanted to stop every time I wanted to stop,
Yeah.
but it's not, you always find a way to justify it in your head, especially with alcohol, because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm old enough, this is legal, nobody's going to tell me I
Yeah.
can't do this, or I'm going to have one or two, which then
Right.
leads to 12, however many more the night brings on.
Right.
And so you're just tricking yourself into thinking that, this is, this is normal, when in all actuality it's starting to control you. um, and then I found God in there as well, which I was not a believer, and then but I tricked my wife into thinking I was, because I mean, she was a great looking woman when we were dating, and well, crap, she still is.
I was going to say,
um,
whoa, hang on, go ahead and fix that right now.
yeah, and this
Yeah.
is live, so crap.
Right.
But
Right.
it, but so and you'd say whatever you'd say, because I actually met her in a church, and the only reason I'd gone is because my mom kept bugging me saying, "You should go to church. You should go to church." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So it was after an all nighter with no sleep. I got home, hopped in the shower. I was like, "Whatever, I'll go." And then this old lady comes up. I don't know. Somehow I've segued into how we met. Um, but
Oh, you're
so,
good, man. Roll with it.
so this old lady came up and was like, "Oh man, my granddaughter would probably love to meet you." And of course, in the pew at church, hungover, I was sitting in the back. You're like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to see this one. Oh boy." Um, and then she walks in, and you're like, "Holy crap!" And you're like, "Okay, so this is cool." And then she walks up.
Yeah, I might like church
Yeah,
after all.
yeah. Well, then you just, oh man. So then they come up to you and they do the handshaking part,
Yeah.
and you don't even stand up. You just say, "Hey," and then they walk away. And somehow, when I left, I got to a stoplight right outside the church. I was like, "Holy crap, man! What am I doing? I'm an idiot." So I turned back around and ran into that same old lady, and I was like, "Hey, can I get her number?" And she's like, "Well, I'll give her your number." And her stepdad called me. She would never have called had it not been for that. And so it's like all this crazy stuff that happened. So I held on to her, lied to her. Golly, I don't even know how many times about alcohol. And then for some reason, she's the strongest part of our marriage. She's what has kept this family together, because I've done about everything I can to run it, to the point of her saying, "Hey, it's either this or us." And
Right.
so that was changing. So then I really started to think about certain things in life at one point. And so there was a point in Afghanistan when I don't have any clue, and this is my profession, of why I didn't get blown up. And that's because I'd done exactly what the bomb was made to happen. So sometimes they have what's called an anti-lift, where if you lift the explosive out of the ground, there's a clothespin underneath, and it's got metal clamps on it, and there's a spacer in between it. So that pulls out, metal contacts come together, and then whammy. Well,
Yeah.
this one was an even better moment, because I had one of our helping forces, an Afghanistan guy, run up, start hitting the ground with a shovel while I'm working on this jug. And then I lift it up and see that clothespin. And I was like, "Holy crap, this thing has an anti-lift device." And then I yelled that out because we were in a big fight. So we had to get people up. So I was going a lot faster than I probably should have. And I was a little more cocky than I should have been, thinking, also had gained a immunity thing as well.
Yeah.
And so, I yelled that back, and the gunner in the truck behind me was like, "What, did it work?" And of course, that broke the ice on that one. And then it was like, "No, man, it didn't work. I'm right here. There wasn't a boom, so we were able to
Right.
get everybody up." But, that was just, only reason I say that is because that was in my head, even after that, because there's several close calls. In my head, I had become invincible.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. So then at one point, after just completely screwing everything up, I started to think back, started thinking about the Bible. And because my parents raised me in church, not that it fit or anything, but they did their best. And so I started to think about it. I was like, wait a second, I didn't die there. I didn't die there. And I've been giving myself the credit when it's actually, if all had worked out, I'm the one who would have on
Yeah.
that event killed myself. So I started to put it in a perspective of, well, okay, so let's start looking into this Bible thing. And then I'm one of those people that when I get into something, I really have to understand it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't take people's words for it. Now I will listen and they give me stuff to research. Like when I go to church now, I don't put like preachers or stuff on a pedestal.
Sure.
But I use that as a way of researching more.
And I can
And
I can attest to that because I've seen you in Bible study. I don't know how many times grab your Bible and start looking at something whenever somebody's talking about something, like you're
absolutely,
researching on the fly.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's
Yeah.
helped out so much because I would even say before I really started to read that, even though it's crazy. I didn't think of myself as an alcoholic until I heard somebody in front of some. I think it was a church talking about their story. And I was like, holy crap, that okay, that kind of oh well. So
Right.
I didn't think of it that way. So even at that point in my life, you'd go by people who are much worse off than you are in your moment right there, and you just flat out think, well, golly, at least I'm not them,
Right.
or they, that's their lifestyle, or whatever the case is. They've done something wrong in life,
Right. Right.
and but the more I read the Bible, the more I realized that is a complete crappy way to think about everything.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's completely wrong. And that got me into, I love church, but I will be the first one to speak about what churches can do better.
Sure.
Um, and so that's when it really hit me. I started to get close to retirement. I wanted to help people. I got a music degree, and one thing I wanted to do was, as your thing on the beginning of the show said, was I wanted to get rid of this stigma because that's not at all. I was talking to you, I don't know, not too long
Yeah.
ago, and
Yeah. Last
I
week.
said, yeah, when I was in third grade, I never heard anybody get up and say, well, when I grow up, I want to be a prostitute or I want to be a drug addict.
And I turned that into a Facebook and a LinkedIn post too. Like
Yeah, I saw
posted that.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. And it because it's so true.
It
The
is,
kids
man. Like,
at the. Oh,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm just
Oh,
agreeing with you.
yeah, it's absolutely so true. Kids at that point, they all want to do something really productive, and then at some point, life throws some wrenches in there, throws whatever it can throw in there, and it screws everything up. And as you saw in Memphis, and as I saw in Memphis, which was a huge learning experience for myself as well, um, you don't really realize how bad it gets. So I've always hated human trafficking, just always
Yeah.
despised it. But I would say even after being in Memphis, I don't fully understand. I understand like that
No.
and the
Yeah.
addiction
Yeah.
stuff a lot better. But it's that trip also made me want to bring light to a situation that some people don't have a choice.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
people are raised a certain way, and this is the only way they're going to make money. And that's where I came up with another phrase. How good old Sir Isaac Newton said, "An object at rest will stay at rest until acted upon by an opposite force." That's where I started thinking, well, you know what? A person at the bottom will stay at the bottom unless they're acted on by another force. So that's like somebody giving them a hand up. Because if you're at the
Come on
bottom,
with
either
it. Well, that's a
somebody could,
T-shirt, man.
yeah, take it.
Yeah.
And so somebody can either drag you down or somebody can be there to pick you up. And what we need is people to pick people up. Because once again, think back to third grade, nobody wanted that.
Right.
And so that started. I was like, okay, I can do that. Of course, when you first start thinking about helping people, you're like, oh man, I'm going to totally save the world. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build this facility, and then you start, and then people are like, hey, goofball, you need to narrow it down. And I'm like, you know what? You may be onto something.
Yeah.
So I took it down. I loved going out in the communities. I love talking to people. I love all that, and I'm still going to continue to do that. But my organization across the bear teaches guitar lessons in rehab facilities. And so what we do is we teach a 10 session course to them And the facilities pick who goes to it. Well, I mean, obviously they want to go, who wants to go, and then what part of rehab they're in. And it's also, I do also homeless rehab. So basically life rehab as a whole.
Sure.
And, uh, and so they find somebody who's really doing good at a certain point, and then they do the 10 sessions, complete that, stay clean, adhere to the standards of the facility itself, and then I give them a guitar. So I keep a guitar there so they can sign it out and play it. But at the end, they're going to have their own guitar to continue to play to use as healing, because I know one thing for me that really just crushed me was boredom. If
Yeah.
there was nothing, because it, um, as a lot of people are aware, you forget how to have fun. Like anytime something
You do,
it
man.
gets
Like it's
brought up,
crazy.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah. That's like your first question. Even to the point of like people having birthday parties for their kids. You're like, dude,
Yeah.
hey,
Like
we're gonna have
you don't
drinks
know how to
there.
act. Yeah. You don't know how to act.
Exactly. And most of the time for us, because of the job field, most of them did have alcohol there. So then you
Right.
had, I mean, just a whole bunch of ridiculousness that now kids are
Sure.
seeing this stuff and stuff like that. And so that's where I really wanted to be as much help as I could instead of part of the problem, and go from there.
And think about it for just a minute. Like learning music is so therapeutic. Like Jane just said, music therapy is so healing. But like when we were in Memphis, and my brother-in-law Josh, whenever we went to the needle exchange, he perched up in the very farthermost corner of the parking lot and just played and sang, like no mic, no nothing. It was just him and his guitar. And he sparked a couple of conversations with some really cool people. And these people were like living basically on the streets. One of them was wanting to go home and get a keyboard and bring it and give it to him.
Oh man,
And
yeah,
then we were on the porch of one of Ben and Jess's houses, and there was everybody from white supremacists to black folks to, or former white supremacists, let me say that, black folks, gays, people who hated gays, like all of this craziness that would have been division in the past. But Josh starts playing, and all of a sudden everybody's singing and dancing and having a good time. So you teach somebody how to, music just brings people together, but then you teach somebody how to do that, and think about what you've done. You've not
hmm
only given them an outlet, but you've also given them ministry opportunities that they never would have even thought they had before.
absolutely. Because the goal is, one, when the 10 sessions are over, I'm not done talking to them. I'm going to
Right,
always be there.
right,
They're always going to have
right,
my number. If they think
right.
about falling into some problem, or if they just want to get more information about playing, I'm going to be there for
Yeah.
them. But the goal is to have it multiply. So I teach them,
Yes.
because I teach them to play the guitar. They get good enough, and then they start to teach somebody else, and then they
Yes.
start to teach somebody else, and go from there. So that way, like you said, it opens up a ministry for them, and it also gives them, an outlet uh, to, when they're bored, to pick it up, because I can pick up a guitar and I can play it. Hours will go by before I even notice that hours are going by.
Yeah.
And I've been playing for quite a few years, and it's just one of those things. It's absolutely one of the most powerful forces, because if you think about it, back in the old days when goofballs used to stand right in front of each other and shoot at each other, it was like a
Mhm.
drum and stuff that were marching them in there. So you're marching
Right.
guys walking in, knowing that, hey, I'm gonna be straight across from some dude. He's gonna shoot at me. I'm gonna shoot at him, and this is how this is gonna be fought.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely terrible, and I would not sign
Right.
up for that. Um,
Right.
but I mean, music gets them there. Music just
Yeah.
does so much to a person, and if
Yeah.
utilized the proper way, then it's a form of help. And then and gradually, speaking there, because I think another one of the problems is, I talk to people where they're at, and that's no matter what. Because another stigma that I try to get rid of as well is that, obviously I'm a religious organization, so I follow Christ, all of his teachings,
Amen.
which turns a lot of people, can turn a lot of people off. However, those are the people that have had bad experiences in church,
Hmm.
um, or somebody just talked to them bad, or
Yep.
they think that Christians hate them. And so that was where I really started to focus in on the Sermon on the Mount, a ton because you don't hear it preached very often. And
Mm-mm.
it's the one sermon that Jesus himself preached, which I always found
Yeah.
really odd that you don't hear about it. As like it should be like all the time. But if you actually read it and try to understand what he's talking about, he's telling us how to live, and we don't turn anybody down.
Right.
At no point, no matter what, like you were saying, you had ex-white supremacists, you had black people, you had gay people. That right there is a dynamic that would turn so many people off, when in reality, Christ himself would walk right in there, and
Right in the middle.
the
Whether
first thing
he agreed with any of that or not, he would walk right up in the middle of it.
oh, absolutely, and his first thing's not going to be like, hey, all right, so if you follow me, I'll heal you. He never said that one time. He actually healed them and then talked to them about it. So, a lot of people get it wrong at times, and we get well, and get so aggravated and mad about, especially about the times that are going on these days and everything. And that's not at all what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to love everybody, meet them where
Yeah.
they're at, and if they, obviously, I'll mention Christ. If they never come to Christ when they're with me, at least they're gonna have walked away knowing what following Christ is supposed to look like,
Exactly.
and then maybe that'll plant the seed. Because realistically, I just want, it's like when you're on the streets talking to everybody, I just want people to be saved. I want them to understand that there is another way, and not only that, but
Yes.
even if you don't believe in the Bible, if somebody was to read that, they're like, and apply it to life, there would be so less violence, so less arguments, so less
Yeah.
all this stuff, because nothing in there points to how most of us are living our lives at all.
Yeah.
So even without believing, it's a great book for, a good way to treat people. And
Yeah.
so that's another stigma that I try to work on quite a bit.
And
Because
for anybody wondering, the Sermon on the Mount is Matthew 5, 6, and 7. Like, go look it up. It's 3 solid chapters of Jesus just preaching.
Absolutely, yeah, he's talking about. Well, so a lot of people think that and I'm not going to preach, so I apologize.
No, go
But
ahead, bro. This
but
is your
they
show.
well, you know how long I can talk.
Yeah,
But
I do know.
but a lot of people think Jesus came and got rid of the commandments and all this other stuff, and yeah, a lot of laws were gone. But if you read that thing, whereas before it was like, do not commit adultery. Well, so that was easy. Okay, well, I'm not going to have sex with somebody else.
Right.
Well, then comes Jesus and says, well, here's
If
the
you even
thing.
think about it.
Boom. Yeah. If you take that look and you think about sleeping with her, guess what?
Yeah.
Whammy, adultery. So not only that, but it makes it to where we have to live a cleaner life.
Yeah.
And it tells us how to treat people. And it's just, to me, it's one of the best sections of the Bible. I love it. That and the Great Commission put together it just tells us what we're supposed to do. And so those two together, I think, are key and vital to understand, so that people don't get confused and turn it into some kind of hate thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what I hear most often is, well, you got, especially, talking to people that are gay is, oh, you guys hate us. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
No, I don't, man.
Yeah, not
Like,
at all.
I've had guests on the show that were gay.
Yeah.
I sat right next to them, like not even virtually, sat right next to them in the same room and had them as guests, because ultimately it's their story, but also Jesus would not have shunned them. He'd have loved
No.
on them.
Yeah.
And I'm not even trying to get into the whole whether gay is right or wrong stuff, but Christians have it so wrong where they want to just hit people over the head with this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? You don't have to agree with them, but there's nothing that says you can't love them and be their friend.
Exactly. And why would you judge somebody who doesn't believe in God on the
It's a
conditions
whole
of sin?
standard. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they don't know what that is. So
Yes.
it's and clearly Jesus got upset when people were messing around in the synagogue, which means other
Right.
religious people were messing around. He never got mad
Right.
about somebody,
He didn't get
for
mad at the
whatever
sinners.
cause. No,
No.
absolutely not. So
No.
that says a lot.
It does. 100%. I love that. I love it. So, cross the bear. So, like, let's talk about that for a minute. So, you've worked on some corporate sponsorships, but you need like some
Ah,
followers to be able to do that.
yes. So I had reached out to a company called Sweetwater. I've
I know
purchased
Sweetwater. Yep.
equipment through them. Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
being a podcaster, I'm
Sweetwater.
sure, absolutely.
Well, and I play bass. Like I'm not just great
Okay.
at it, but I play bass since I was like 15 years old. So like I'm real familiar with Sweetwater and yep, I
Well,
do
well,
bass.
Cross the Bear. Another reason for that was also because I was wanting to have a band named Cross the Bear.
Okay.
So you're a bass player. We'll have to talk
I'm a
about that
bass
later.
player. Yep.
Um, but so yeah, so I got hold of them, and they came back with, well, okay, get back with us when you have 5,000 followers on Facebook, 5,000 or LinkedIn, or I think it's like 50,000 for Instagram. I don't know what that problem is, but anyway, so I was like, okay, I'll get back to them. And the reason why I was needing, the reason I do need them is because all the guitars that I've handed out, I've been able to facilitate myself. I've had been fortunate, and Gibson's given me some acoustics and stuff, but now it's getting to the point where it's unsustainable,
Yeah.
and it, and I'm not talking about getting them, a high price Taylor or anything. I get a guitar that's good enough to be played well, and that's a great guitar play wise, but it's not going to be that amount of money. So I typically try to stick with between 350, 400, which is a good
It's a decent. That's a
Epiphone.
decent. You can get a decent one for that.
Absolutely, yeah,
Like you said, it's
yeah.
not a Taylor or a Martin, but it's decent. It's
Oh
going to
yeah,
sound good. Yeah.
oh, oh yeah, they sound absolutely great. So and that's why I was reaching out to them because it's one of the hardest things of a nonprofit, as you know, as everybody else running one, is it's a lot more expensive to help people than it is to not, and
A hundred
and
percent.
that's where we all got to work together. We all got to come together and uh, and work as one. Kind of like these platforms that you guys have. Share them, get information out, and what's another reason why I just thank you absolutely so much for having me on here,
Yeah,
is
man.
because it does help with that, and that's what they had told me, and that's what I'm trying to do, to get some kind of corporate backing behind me so I can continue to teach, because I start another course at the end of this month, actually, in a place that's called Operation Inasmuch, and it's in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for this one, because North Carolina based, for anybody that didn't
Right.
didn't know, and then we go from there. But I think
And just kind of put it into perspective, y'all. Like y'all see me posting, you see Ben posting, like you see the reactions everybody gets, and how things. There may be anywhere from 50 to 500 reactions. It doesn't always translate into dollars.
oh no,
It
no,
doesn't. So if anything, like even it's something as simple as following Tyler's company page or even his personal profile, he's on Facebook as Tyler Paul. Um, to get the amount of followers he needs to get some corporate sponsorships, like that goes a whole lot farther than just liking a post,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Because
oh yeah,
you got to have that to get the corporate sponsorships.
absolutely. And I've been trying
Yep.
to think of ways to make it more useful for other people. So I put guitar lessons up on the Facebook page, and I have a website as well that I can put them on.
Yep.
But I'm also,
Crossthebear.org.
yep, and with the number two,
Yeah, with
cross
the
two
number
bear,
two,
yep,
cross number two bear, BEAR.org.
yep. And so now that I'm adding lessons on there, because I understand, people giving money to somebody they have no clue about, it's difficult. They still don't know me, but at least they're going to get something out of it. I'm also
Yeah.
currently, what started out as writing a guitar refamiliarization course, for people that we know. I've actually decided, well, I'm going to turn that into a book. So that'll be one of the perks as well once I get that completed. And so just thinking of different ways to where make people's money work for them. Memberships where newsletter
And
once a
you
month
know
and
what?
stuff like that.
And one thing I'm learning, like doing this and fundraising and stuff, is you can sit there and talk about fundraising and give your fundraising link or anything. And this is not a knock on anybody that's donated or bought stuff from us at all. Like, I get it. It's just human nature. People want to get something for what they're donating, whether it's a shirt, whether it's guitar lessons, whether it's whatever. So, like, we get that, y'all. Just understand that we get that.
Yeah, yeah. And these lessons aren't lessons that you'd see online or on YouTube. That it's like, oh, well, here's this lesson, but to get more, you got to go become a
Right.
member of this or whatever. There's nothing I'm going to hide or anything like that. And
Yeah.
if people want to post questions, that would be amazing of what they want to see on there because, I can't think of everything. And if there's
Right.
something that somebody's having a hard time with, then please put it on there and let's get past that wall.
Yeah.
And move on from that wall and progress real quick. But so yeah, that's what I got going on, man.
I love it.
And I'm trying to actually thinking about. Well, not thinking about. I've got to figure out how there's a homeless ministry that's here, but they do like where the homeless people meet them at this place, do food, sermon, stuff like that. So I got to get in there. Get in with the people that are there so that way we can get into the neighborhoods as well, as opposed to when my hair's looking all crazy going just walking in the John the Baptist style.
Yeah, like I'm a little
crazy.
disappointed, man. Like I'm a little disappointed the hair's not going nuts right now. Like Friday mornings, it is epically nuts.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, what I can do is I can take a picture of it, and then you could put it on your page and all that other
I
stuff.
will.
So people can get the other side.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because I didn't really do it. I mean, like I said, this is B chair. That's all it is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It fixed itself today. It's so nice of it.
Right.
Well, and my wife's a cosmetologist, so which I haven't done it yet today, but I never knew about the secret of conditioner until her and I grew this hair out.
Until her and you grew the hair out.
No, until her and then I grew my hair out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I never knew about conditioner because when I was in high school, I definitely had the whole Kurt Cobain garage band thing going on. Hair down to here, little kind of scruff, something, nothing near as cool as this. Obviously,
my sister commented that you look like a Wilson brother, like Luke or Owen Wilson.
Oh my God, man! Oh, you know how many times I hear that, dude? I had to get a CAT scan the other day, and the nurse, like in the middle of like going through all the questions for it, like, do you have this in your body? All this other stuff. She's like, you look like that Owen Wilson guy. I was like, no, this is straight. Right
this
here.
is straight. You know what I tell people you look like though? Whenever I'm talking about you, like, we've been talking about the joint fundraiser with us, and we fight monsters in October. So I've been talking to my sister and her husband and the other girl in our organization, April. And I was like, it's Deeks from NCIS LA. Like, it is Deeks. The hair is Deeks.
Well, so if anybody wanted to know, here's what my who is my motivation. So as you said, I just retired at the end of April. I retired from the military. If you go Google an image of a guy named Zakk Wylde, it's ZAKKWYLDE. He has his own band, but he also was a guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne for a while. And it's kind of that old Norse type look. Get where I can braid the beard and stuff like that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm trying to attain here out of this. I take a lot of vitamins for hair growth. Oh, there he is right there. Look at that. Right on.
Yeah, there he is right there.
Oh man, absolutely. I'm glad you pulled that up. Thank you. You saved some people some time if they're even wondering what it looks
right.
Like. But
technology actually worked in my favor on this one.
Yeah, it did. And I never. Yeah, that typically doesn't work for me. I had a hard time with the AirPods before it started, but I didn't have Bluetooth on. That was what was wrong with them. Yeah. Oh,
Well, dude, I have enjoyed the heck out of this, man. It was good to hear some of your story and how you got from point A to point B. Obviously, I've heard bits and pieces of it, on the weekly call and all that kind of stuff. But just to hear you and hear your heart and just hear you share it with us, man, like I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, dude. It's been awesome.
dude, once again, man, all thanks goes to you. I really appreciate this opportunity. And people ever have questions, not just about music, but about anything, hit that page up. Message me personally.
Yeah,
I think
message
I
you
have my
personally.
I think I have my phone number and all that stuff. Because one thing about an organization is I didn't want to make it to where people couldn't reach me, the person
Yeah,
who started it. I don't want to ever grow that big to where people can't reach me. I want to just be they're talking to the head guy, basically, is what I
yeah,
want. So I
yeah.
think that's very important, and go from there. But once again, man, I appreciate the heck out of you. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always.
It's been a pleasure. Y'all go follow his page, man. Cross number 2 Bear on Facebook. Go follow him. It's Tyler Paul. It's out his name. You'll see him. He's wearing in his picture. He's like, all badass looking in his, military outfit and a gun and hat, looking down, just looking like a straight stud. Go donate, follow his page, share it, ask some people to share it. Like, let's get this dude up to 5,000 followers where we can get some corporate sponsorships for him for sure.
Awesome. And thanks everybody for watching, tuning in.
Yeah. Thank y'all very much. So next week I have Joe Carlini. I don't even know if he's on Facebook. I haven't been able to find him. I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. He's a huge advocate for people in recovery and human trafficking, mental health, all that kind of stuff. Just like, bro, like I just read some of his story last week. Like, bro, like bought a whole trucking company just so he could run drugs for. Like, it blew me away whenever I read it. Like, I'm not even going to try and remember it all, but like he bought a whole trucking company and organized it where that was his front for money laundering and running drugs. So like, bro has a story. And now he's a huge advocate for recovery and just helping all kinds of people. So he'll be on with me next week. And I cannot wait to dive into that one. Like, stories like that, that's some Pablo Escobar kind of stuff, man.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Right. Like, I was a small time user. I was an addict. Bro was like trafficking that stuff all over the country. So yeah, man.
But
Tyler, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man. I love you, and I will see you on Friday.
I love you too, brother, man. You take it easy.
All right, man. Bye.
All right, later.